Hey, we're here with Brian Niles from TargetX. He's the CEO there and a bloghighed member. And so Brian, your blog, The Recruiting Revolution, talk to me for a little bit about where recruitment's come maybe from in the past 5 years and where you see it going.
Yeah, I started this blog a few years ago, realizing that things obviously are changing with the students that colleges are recruiting and how they're finding out about information about colleges. So how do colleges adjust the way that they recruit students? So most of my blog is a little reaction backed up with some data and food for thought, try and get people thinking about different ways of changing the way they're recruiting students.
So where do you see us going?
That's the well, I guess it'd be the $10 million question.
Yes.
So you and I were talking about that. What's next? What comes next? And, it's going to be different for each school. I think it's going to be a challenge in the short term as to how colleges get through the downturn in numbers of students graduating from high school, as well as obviously the internet's part of that. The influence of parents, the shift from the baby boomer parents to the Gen X parents. What's the implications of that? But I think there are all sorts of changes and all sorts of dimensions that colleges have to consider. And my advice to most colleges is to kind of start over. If you had to start from scratch today, what would you do? And sometimes things will fall back into the picture. We'll still do print, but maybe it's different print. We'll maybe get more involved online, but in different ways, but things that truly are authentic to that institution, and that's a word that we're using a lot right now, which is authenticity. You can't do everything. You have to pick and choose what's right for your institution, then you have to talk about what's real about your institution, and instead of just sounding like everybody else. So there are a couple challenges that folks are having, so we're trying to help that along with some advice.
Definitely. So if you could give maybe the viewers here one little tidbit of advice. I know you've given us some already, but maybe the answer to the $10 million question.
Well, I mean, it's summertime, so colleges are planning for next year. I would say take a hard look at your communication plan if you have one. If you don't have one, start one. Maybe that's good. But if you have one, I would take a hard look at it. In fact, I'd throw it out. I'd start all over again and rebuild it from scratch with your staff. Now's the time to do that and really look hard at what works, what hasn't worked. Hopefully you've been collecting data. And maybe more importantly is make those tough choices of things that didn't work, those have-to activities, those college fairs you feel you have to go to, they've never gotten a student from, those high school visits that you have to go to, those publications you felt you had to do, but they didn't bring in the students. Take a hard look at that and make those tough choices of dropping something and adding something else.
Great. Well, thanks a lot, Brian. And you can see the link to his blog, The Recruiting Revolution, at the bottom of the screen. And as always, check us out at bloghighed.org. Thanks, Brian.